Well, green and fair recovery is one where no one's left behind. It's not down to whether you're rich, clever or lucky. It means that everybody gets a fair chance for a good life.
A green and fair recovery means learning to share what we have better, including resources, time, energy, knowledge and experience.
A just recovery looks to the future, and it looks outside of our personal lives. It looks out of Darlington, it looks out of Britain. In the global north, we have had centuries of development. We have burnt coal, oil, gas without any regard to the future to develop and build a society which is comfortable for us. And that has led us to this climate emergency. Whereas in other parts of the world, development has hardly begun as we see it. And there are people there wanting to change their quality of life, improve it. Do we try and prevent development and tell those people that they shouldn't be looking for a society shaped like ours? Or should we leave them to follow the same wrong path that we did of burning coal, oil and gas and generating an even worse climate emergency than one we see now? Well, in reality, what we should be doing is we should be using our advantage, we should be using our knowledge and using our wealth, let's be honest, to help others develop in a sustainable manner. So a fair recovery is one that sees equality of opportunity and choice without damaging the planet.
What we've seen going through is the world coming together. People say, oh, it's going to cost money for the green recovery. And I read somewhere that it would take something like 2.4 trillion per year till 2035 from the world to try and keep the rise in temperature at 1.5 degrees Celsius. And I also read that the world has spent over 10 trillion just for pandemic in the last 12 to 18 months. So money can't be an object. We can find it when there's a world crisis. We've got a world crisis at the moment, and that's climate change, and the environment needs protecting.
It's going to be very difficult for us to recover at all from COVID-19, first and foremost. So to make it green, I think, is not going to be at the forefront of a lot of people's minds.
We don't live in a world where people reuse and fix things like it used to be. Nothing has value anymore unless it's new. Whereas we need to change our mindset that there's value in literally everything, you know. I love watching little scavenging videos. Someone broke a PC down, melted the parts down, and then they had like gold. It wasn't a lot of gold, but I was like, there's gold in PCs.
We need to develop a circular economy. And what that means is that we need to develop a system that reduces the amount of waste that we are producing overall. We need to increase the amount of recycling that we're doing.
Here in Darlington we have quite a complex system. Here in England we have a complex system. It varies town to town, county to county, and it shouldn't. We need to make recycling the easiest option.
Important actions we need to take is council investment in the correct facilities to recycle black plastics. Also, the council needs to invest in education for people who don't know what can and can't be recycled.
It requires mandates for companies to be moving away from single-use plastics and towards plastics that we can actually push back through the system and turn into new goods, or to even just reuse. That would directly apply to the incinerator that is being planned to be constructed in Redcar this December. The construction for that hasn't started yet and should still be stopped because that incinerator would divert all attention, energy and waste away from the recycling plants. It would divert all the council's attentions away from creating new ways to recycle and basically give them an excuse to just burn all of our waste, because it requires a heck of a lot of money to keep those things running.
Going forwards, we need to make sure that everybody realises that it's everybody's responsibility to do something to try and be greener.
I feel while the problem is one that many people try and solve with engineering solutions, I feel that the issue needs to be corrected by social engineering.
When we make a choice, we need to weigh in the balance the cost of that choice. Now, as an individual, that's quite a hard thing to do, but there are resources out there. There's a great book I'm reading at the moment called How Bad Are Bananas that lays it out very simply how your day-to-day choices can have an impact on carbon. But as a councillor, I'm helping to implement a medium-term carbon plan that will treat CO2 the same as we treat pounds and pence. And it will ask departments, heads of service, councillors and officers to make budget choices. And at the end of the year, if the carbon's running tight, change the choices they make.
If the choice is not a 100-year choice, then it's too small. I want to know what my great-grandchildren are going to think about the choices we make today. and I want our choices to be made in the light of their future. Local authority, Darlington, bless their hearts. By 2050, they're going to have Darlington Borough Council be zero carbon. But what about everybody else within Darlington? That's just the council. The responsibility is to get the whole of Darlington there. So if before any decision were taken, the question needed to be asked, how is that going to impact our carbon emissions and help us reduce them? How is that going to impact on the poorest people of our town? And how is that going to impact the people who are going to be in Darlington in 100 years' time? If those three questions can be taken into consideration before any decision is made, I think we'd be making different decisions.